Hello, and welcome to another episode. Before we start today, take a deep breath with me. We'll inhale, possibility, and we'll exhale, old weight. Today, we're diving into something raw, something that lives in the shadows of every family, every lineage, the weight of being aware. Because let's be real, sometimes it does feel easier to be unaware, to stay unaware, whether that's by choice or simply to not notice the patterns, the curses, the stories that keep repeating. But once awareness opens, man, it can feel heavy, but so much lightness can come once you move through that heaviness, those waves. When you're unaware, it's like you're on autopilot. You are simply repeating what you have been taught. You inherit the stories and you carry behaviors without even realizing it. And there's a strange kind of comfort in that. Even if it hurts, think about that. There's a strange kind of comfort in what hurts sometimes. And if you can be real with yourself in this moment, you know that that's very true. And we have all experienced something like that in many relationships, whether that's romantic, friendships, you know. But when you're aware, everything changes. And suddenly, you see it all, the dynamics, the pain that's been passed down, the unspoken rules that don't serve love anymore, or that maybe just don't make sense. Because love isn't everything that we were taught. And so when you realize you're living inside of a story that started long before you were born, and when you become aware, you literally ask yourself, will I repeat this? Or what do I need to do to change? And I believe it all starts within. I think you even have to have like that inner strength to ask that question, because that's a very deep question. Will I repeat this? Or what do I need to change? Because we can all look at our lives, right? Whether we're single, in a relationship with kids, and we can see little things that have been repeated. Now, generational curses are not always witchcraft or spells. Most of the time, they're energetic imprints, trauma, silence, suppression, survival patterns. They get stored in a family's field and they're carried forward until someone literally says, you know what? No, whoa, let's rewind. This is not it. This ends with me. And that's the role of the one that's aware, the black sheep of the family, the sensitive soul, the empath, or the cycle breaker, whatever we want to label it. It feels like a burden sometimes, and things can feel so heavy. But spiritually, I think it's such a sacred assignment that your soul chose. And here's the part that most of us struggle with: choosing self. Why? Because maybe we didn't have that growing up. We didn't see that. Moms never had time to choose self. And somewhere along the way, it's like we were taught that choosing ourselves means abandoning others. That if I put me first, I'm selfish. That if I set a boundary, I don't love you. And personally, this year, I have experienced a lot of that. I truly believe that setting a boundary will either solidify a friendship, relationship, or it'll just expose the truth. And that's okay. But when you honor yourself, you actually expand your capacity to love. And you teach your kids that they are also allowed to write their own story instead of carrying the one that was handed to them, like the one that was handed to many of us. You show your partner that partnership isn't about chains. It's two whole souls choosing each other, not out of survival, but out of freedom. To choose yourself is to say, I love you, but I also love me. I honor you, but I will not abandon me. And I think in relationships, partnerships, that's one of the main, big lessons that we all come across to choose yourself, to say I love you, but I also love me. Because I like to think when you love someone so much, you don't mold them to what you want them to be or to your needs or wants. No, I think when you love someone, you love them for who they are, not for who you're trying to make them almost to be. And if you have kids, hear me when I say this. When you choose yourself, you give them permission to choose themselves too. When you show them that love isn't about sacrifice to the point of emptiness, love is about overflow, filling your own cup so your children never have to drink from your lap. And if you have a partner, choosing yourself doesn't mean the relationship ends. No, if anything, the relationship evolves, it grows. It means that you're no longer playing out stories your parents or grandparents played out. You're writing something new. Because we can all look back to a current relationship or past relationship if we're not in one right now. And if you can have the awareness to see some patterns, a lot of stuff can start to make sense. And if you don't have either children or a partner and you're on your own path, hey, then this is the time to root even deeper into your self-love. Because your story, your awareness, it will ripple into every connection you build. And our spirits and our body, they're not the same thing. I don't think. I'll break it down. I think the spirit is eternal, limitless, infinite, connected to source. And the body, we all know it's temporary. It's a vessel. It's a container made from earth. The spirit knows the truth, that inner knowing. But the body, it holds memory. And this is simply epigenetically speaking. The body holds memory. The spirit is free. And the body's more like a conditioning. And when you become self-aware, what's really happening is your spirit is waking up inside the body and saying, this is not who I really am. Wait, these patterns, these wounds, these limitations, they're not my essence. They're just what this body and this lineage learned to carry. And that's why it feels heavy. Because the spirit is expansive, and we know that the body's dense. So the spirit wants to soar, but the body holds the weight of generations. Think of it this way: your body has been trained to repeat the past. Every emotion, every trauma, every reaction, it's like it grooves caved into it. But your spirit, it doesn't want to repeat, it wants to evolve. If you've never seen the movie Soul on Disney Plus, I highly recommend it because it talks a lot about this, the soul's evolution. And so when you awaken, when awareness hits you, it's like literally your spirit pulling your body out of its old programming. And yeah, the body resists, right? Because it thinks survival means repetition. That's why healing feels like a tug-of-war. It really does. But it's really the soul teaching the body a new way to live. You're literally learning something new. And so I think the truth is that the life you want will always cost you the one you've been living. Yeah, the life you want will always cost you the life you've been living. You can't step into freedom while holding on to chains. You can't write a new story if your hands are still clinging to old pages. Spiritually, that's the contract to evolve. You must die your old self and know this is not physically, not a physical death, but the death of your patterns, your identities, your excuses that we sometimes make, right? If we can look in the mirror and we can be real with ourselves, there's sometimes just excuses that limit us. That's just the truth. The parts of you that were built in survival, they can't walk into your expansion. And your spirit knows the new life already exists. That's why you crave it. That's why when you think about these changes or these things or doing something so different, there's this inner feeling. But your body, your mind, and your lineage, they're used to the old life. Many times, right? And I say that with so much respect, but it's very true. I mean, look at how much the world and the times we're in, how much things are evolving. But yet we all know that one friend, family member, whomever the person is, that just is not okay with these changes. I mean, the list can go on, but we won't take it there this episode because we know, right? I hope you know what I mean by that some people are just used to the old life. And that's okay because maybe they're not even aware or the ego doesn't want to accept, right? Even, speaking up for yourself because it hasn't been done in the lineage or in the family, it almost can seem like a talking back, right? And so there's a friction. Many times, one part of you pulling forward and one part is dragging you back respectfully. And here's the truth: evolution isn't about getting rid of your body or shaming your past. It's about teaching your body that it's safe to live in alignment with spirits. It's about letting your nervous system feel love where it used to feel fear. And that's when the patterns change. That's when the cycle ends. And maybe If you're at that crossroad, one hand holding the old, one hand reaching for the new, yeah, it feels scary because the familiar has always felt safer than the unknown. And that's just, I think, human nature. Familiar always feels safer than the unknown. Think about a fish, right? A fish that's always been in a small tank, and then you let it out to a bigger pool or the ocean. Imagine how that fish feels to feel so freely. But once it starts swimming and swimming, and it's like, whoa, whoa, look at all of this. That's what the unknown holds. And in today's episode, Spirit is reminding you the unknown is where your freedom lives. That message kept coming through so strong as I was meditating before recording today. The unknown is where your freedom lives. The unknown is where your new story begins. And choosing yourself isn't about abandonment. I think it's alignment. I think it's an act of saying, I love you, but I will not betray me. I honor where I came from, yes, but I choose to write something new. And let me ask you, what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Choosing to write something new. Now, I would like to close this episode with some affirmations. I release the old story. I honor my spirit. I choose myself. I write a new future. And remember, you didn't land on this planet by mistake. You are a response to generations of prayers. And the instant you honor yourself fully, the future opens so many doors that you couldn't have even imagined. And I hope this episode sat well with your heart, with your mind. And let's end it with the last deep breath. We'll inhale strength and light, and we'll exhale past and fears. If you've made it this far, as always, I thank you. And I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye.